How to be the best crypto bro who lost it all but still gives advice. So, you want to be the best crypto bro who lost it all, but still struts around giving advice like your wallet's made of solid Ethereum and your bedroom's wallpapered with NFT monkeys. First of all, congratulations. You've chosen one of the most elite archetypes in the modern hustle hierarchy. This isn't your average keyboard warrior or meme stock day trader. No, you're aiming for something holier, something divinely tragic, a fallen king of the blockchain who still walks the streets in $800 Yeezys whispering, "It's not about the money, it's about the vision." That takes guts. That takes delusion. That takes branding. The journey begins, as all epic stories do, with a YouTube ad. A Lamborghini purrs into frame outside a rented mansion in Miami. A tan man in a linen shirt yells at the camera about passive income while making absolutely zero eye contact with reality. You, fresh off a breakup and 3 Adderall deep, watch that video 17 times in a row. You feel it. You know it. Crypto isn't just a currency, it's a revolution. A personality. A lifestyle. And just like that, you're reborn. Your government name dies. You are now crypto nomad. DeFi Jesus, or Web3 Warlock 69. Your pronouns are hodl/hustle. Within days, you're tweeting like you're already a billionaire. You haven't bought a single token yet, but you're using words like decentralization, staking, and L1 protocol as if you invented them in a lucid dream. You start ghosting your job and ghostwriting threads on Twitter about how discipline is the real alpha. Your laptop becomes your office, Starbucks becomes your HQ, and every girl you date becomes not supportive of your grind. You are now unbearable. But that's the point. It's part of the transformation. Your first crypto buy is a classic. You panic buy Dogecoin at the top after Elon tweets a Shiba in spacesuit. You tell your mom it's going to $1, and when she asks, "What even is Dogecoin?" you call her a FUD merchant. You make memes. You start a Telegram group called Moondigens Elite. You stay up until 4 a.m. watching YouTubers with names like Crypto Wizard and Blockchain Brad break down coins you'll never understand. You believe every single one is the next Solana. And then, a miracle. You get lucky. You buy some random token with a wolf logo and it goes 50x overnight. Suddenly, you go from 8 cents in your Robinhood to a portfolio screenshot that says $183,000. You are immortal. You start saying GM to strangers in Discord and pretending you're doing due diligence on microcap tokens while actually scrolling TikTok. You become addicted to the numbers. You stare at charts like they're porn. You feel alive. Your phone is glued to your hand like it's holding the pulse of your destiny. You quit your job. You buy a MacBook. You order a passport cover that says World Citizen on Etsy. You rent a penthouse on credit and tell your friends you're testing out living abroad when in reality you just don't want to admit you accidentally spent $17,000 on NFTs that look like rejected Adventure Time characters. You start tweeting about financial freedom, even though you've borrowed money from your little brother twice this week. The ego is fully formed. You've become the crypto bro supreme. But, like Icarus flying too close to the sun with wings made of MetaMask wallets, it all comes crashing down. You ape into a rug pull. You stake your tokens into a DeFi protocol run by a 14-year-old in Singapore who vanishes overnight. The coin you swore was the new Ethereum gets delisted. Your NFT marketplace account gets hacked and all your JPEGs vanish like mist in the wind. Your portfolio bleeds red like it's on its period, and every morning you check your balances like you're watching a funeral in slow motion. The Lambo rental company calls. Your landlord wants rent. Your mom says she knew it was all fake. But this is where greatness is born. Because while other crypto brothers crawl back to their accounting jobs or pivot to real estate wholesaling, you double down. You change your Twitter name to former millionaire, current visionary. You start a podcast called Hodl Through the Pain. You make TikToks about learning from the fall while sitting in your 2010 Honda Civic with a broken AC. You begin every sentence with "back when I had 7 figures," and end it with "but it's not about the money anyway." You are now giving advice. You attend conferences as a thought leader. You offer $99 masterclasses on psychological crypto resilience. You tweet things like Warren Buffett once said, "Be greedy when others are fearful, I just took it too literally." You say I'm early unironically while still holding $6,000 worth of Pepe Inu V2. People start quoting you. You develop a cult following. You begin to matter again. Not financially, but philosophically. Spiritually. You're the fallen prophet. The broke messiah. The Tony Robbins of crypto trauma. There's an entire economy built for men like you. Coaching, brand deals, speaking gigs, affiliate links to cold wallets no one uses. You start consulting startups for equity you'll never see. You give life advice on podcasts you record from your friend's basement. You say things like "my next move is silent," even though you tweet it 3 times a day. You're still broke, but now you're wise. You wear hoodies with logos of companies that went bankrupt last year. You drink black coffee and say the real gains are internal. The truth is, people want to hear from the guy who lost it all. The rich crypto brothers are annoying. But you're relatable. You've been to war. You've seen the red candles. You've cried into a trading app. You're not a crypto influencer, you're a crypto survivor. You stand on stages, under soft lighting, and say with a tear in your eye, "It wasn't the money I lost, it was myself I found." Applause erupts. Someone throws a Ledger Nano at your feet like a bouquet of roses. But make no mistake, the grind isn't over. To be the best failed crypto bro who still gives advice, you need to monetize the pain. Package it. Sell it. You start a YouTube channel titled The Crypto Comeback. You release a motivational book with the title like From Bull Run to Rock Bottom. You coach other degens on emotional hedging. You start dropping terms like trauma-based investing and portfolio PTSD. You get interviewed by Vice. You become the poster child for financial ruin with swagger. And then, in true poetic fashion, something happens. A new coin emerges. It's dumb. It's offensive. It's called Milflandia or Shark Coin or something equally absurd. But it calls to you. Your fingers hover over the buy button. Your brain screams no. Your soul whispers yes. You look at the charts. You DM your Discord. You light a candle. You summon all the knowledge of your journey, the loss, the redemption, the memes. And with a trembling hand, you buy in. The cycle begins again. Because that's the secret. The real alpha. To be the best crypto bro who lost it all and still gives advice, you must never stop believing. You are a cockroach in the nuclear wasteland of financial scams. You are the last man standing in a Discord channel filled with bots. You are the embodiment of hopium. You are broke, bruised, and unbothered. You've lost it all, and yet, somehow, you're still bullish. Now that you've fully embraced your role as the humbled yet wise crypto oracle, you need to build your personal brand like it's a layer 2 solution, fast, cheap, and nobody fully understands how it works. Your Twitter/X bio now reads, "Lost it all. Learned everything. Still here. Web3 until I die. $BRO. You've got an old PFP of your Bored Ape, well, technically a screenshot because the original got stolen, and you've got your DMs open for serious inquiries only. Which means, of course, you'll reply to anyone offering you a free podcast spot or a chance to collab on a community-led meme coin drop. Your wardrobe now consists of exclusively 3 things: black hoodies with logos of defunct tokens, joggers with suspicious stains from energy drinks and despair, and fake designer sunglasses you wear indoors during live streams. You call it the uniform of a builder. You don't build anything. But the aesthetic is crucial. You must look like a genius who once ran a DAO, got burned by a multi-sig wallet, and is now finding redemption through LinkedIn posts and overpriced coffee. Now comes the pivot. The real pivot. You see, being a crypto bro who lost it all doesn't mean you're stuck. No, it means you've graduated. You've transcended trading. You're now a builder of culture. You start writing Medium articles titled 10 Lessons Losing $800,000 in Shiba Titty Coin Taught Me About Self-Worth. You launch a Discord called the Bear Market Brotherhood, filled with former NFT flippers, overleveraged day traders, and one guy who tried to stake Bitcoin on Robinhood. You host Sunday calls and say things like, "We're not just trading coins, we're trading limiting beliefs." You become spiritual. You start referencing Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius becomes your new Vitalik. You tweet quotes like, "The market cannot take what you do not attach your identity to." You meditate before checking CoinGecko. You buy crystals. You burn sage. You say crypto is energy unironically. You stop calling it the blockchain and start calling it a reflection of collective consciousness. You even try ayahuasca once and come back convinced that Satoshi Nakamoto was a plant medicine shaman who encoded healing frequencies into SHA-256. People love this version of you. You're not some greedy chart chaser anymore. You're enlightened. You're healed. You're broke, but your aura is glowing. You start giving speeches in community centers and co-working spaces in Medellin. You walk barefoot and talk about decentralized healing. You get a tattoo that says HODL in Sanskrit. Women start calling you interesting. You sell breathwork courses to DAO contributors with burnout. You go full rebrand. You're now Sage of Satoshivo. But deep down, something still haunts you, the charts. You try to pretend you don't care, that you're detached, but every night you secretly check your old wallet address just to see if something magically moved. You even log into an old MetaMask account you forgot about and find $46 worth of an obscure airdrop. It feels like winning the lottery. You post a screenshot and caption it, "Abundance always returns to those aligned." Your followers, now mostly broke influencers and OnlyFans managers, eat it up. This is how you evolve. You start offering clarity calls for $250/hour. It's not financial advice, it's energetic coaching. You say things like you don't need a bull run, you need inner alignment. You post graphs with no axes and call them vibrational trend lines. You invent something called a frequency wallet, which is just a Google sheet with affirmations in it. You write a book, Decentralize Your Soul, and it becomes a bestseller on Crypto Amazon, aka your own Shopify store with 3 sales from cousins. And just when you think you've stabilized into this soft, spiritual grifter groove, boom! Another cycle begins. A new wave of delusions, fresh from TikTok, flood in. There's a new meme coin called Stimmy Coin, and it's up 70,000% in 4 days. The urge to go full big in returns. You start watching again. Lurking in discords. You're older now. Wiser. You think you can outsmart the chaos this time. You tell yourself it's just to observe. But you're lying. Because you know what it is. The dopamine. The tickers turning green. The rush of placing a buy order and watching it pump. It's heroin in HTML. You can't resist. You buy one bag. Then another. Then a third, just to diversify. Suddenly you're knee-deep in slop coins named after presidential pets, and one of them actually goes up 10x. You tweet "We're so back," and for a moment, you really believe it. You start making calls again. You update your old wallet. You even get a new cold wallet because this time I'm doing it right. The problem is, you're not doing it right. You're doing it exactly the same. And the market knows. The market always knows. It senses your arrogance. It sniffs out your hope. And right when you start building your Lambo vision board again. Rug. Another rug. Then another. Then a fat, humiliating rug that takes everything, your coins, your pride, and your fake Rolex that got repoed because you used Klarna. You've now officially lost everything. Again. And somehow. This time feels worse. But here's the twist. Here's the hero's arc. You don't crumble. You don't vanish. You evolve. You don't run from your downfall, you own it. You post a video on TikTok titled "How I Lost $300,000 in 3 days and Why It Was the Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me." You cry a little. You quote Joseph Campbell. You use the word alchemy. It gets 2.7 million views. You're back in business. You lean into the chaos. You start selling broke but bullish merch. You get invited on podcasts to talk about the emotional side of trading. You write a Medium post titled "Bear Markets Build Men." It goes viral. Suddenly, your calendar is booked out with Zoom calls where you coach hedge fund interns on how to transcend attachment. You call yourself a Web3 mindset architect and nobody questions it. People love a comeback. They eat it up like ramen at a broke trader's apartment. You're now the guy with wisdom. You're a cautionary tale with charisma. You've been broke longer than some of your followers have been alive, and yet, somehow, you're more relevant than ever. Because in crypto, the secret isn't winning, it's surviving. And buddy, you've survived 3 cycles, 7 rug pulls, 5 ex-girlfriends, 2 lawsuits, and 1 night in Tijuana you swore you'd never talk about. You begin mentoring. Not in the traditional sense. Not spreadsheets and TA. You teach the philosophy of loss. The art of emotional detachment. You get quoted in newsletters. Someone calls you the Gary V of the broken blockchain brothers. You get a tattoo of a candlestick chart on your forearm that looks suspiciously like a middle finger. You start ending your posts with not financial advice, just spiritual guidance. You sell a course for $497 called the Crypto Phoenix Protocol, and it's just 3 hours of you ranting with jazz in the background. And here's the kicker, you're still giving advice. Even though you've lost it all twice. Even though your bank account is on life support and your last crypto conference invite was revoked because you tried to pay for drinks in Coin. You still speak. You still teach. You still tweet threads like 10 reasons I'd still buy the dip, even if my mom won't let me come home. Because that's who you are. You're not a trader. You're not a guru. You're a legend of loss. A myth in mesh shorts. A philosopher in a bear market. Because in the end, to be the best crypto bro who lost it all, but still gives advice, you must become more than money. You must become a story. A meme. A movement. You must ascend beyond wealth into wisdom, beyond gains into grit. And when the next bull market comes around, and it always does, you'll be standing there with open arms, ready to guide the next wave of overconfident degenerates down the same glorious, wallet-draining path you walked. Except this time, you'll be selling them the map. To truly cement your legacy as the crypto bro who lost it all, twice, but still somehow became a beacon of unsolicited advice, you need to start building your empire, not out of tokens or charts, but out of content. This is where the real bag is. Because in the crypto world, the only asset more volatile than the market is attention, and baby, you've got it. You're not managing a portfolio anymore, you're managing a narrative. And your story? It slaps harder than a market crash after a Fed speech. So what's the move? Easy. You go full content warlord. TikToks, YouTube shorts, threads, reels, and inspirational rants filmed while walking through gritty neighborhoods in Bali with your shirt half unbuttoned. Every post is a cocktail of trauma, transcendence, and total delusion. You say things like, if you've never cried over a candlestick, you haven't truly traded. You record a reel in your car with tears in your eyes, talking about finding yourself in the bear market, and it gets clipped and reposted by 17 Instagram mindset pages. You're invited onto panels where people nod like you're dropping truth bombs, when in reality you're just quoting Kanye lyrics and replacing God with Web3. You drop phrases like liquidity is just love and financial form and get standing ovations. You sell NFT tickets to your speaking events, and they come with absolutely nothing but access to your vibes. But that's the magic of it. You are the utility. Now let's talk monetization, because even if you lost it all in crypto, you can still build a life in the crypto content economy. This is where you pivot from Dagon to digital educator. You start a newsletter, something like the bear market gospel. You charge $11 per month for weekly insights that are 80% vibes and 20% recycled tweets from 2021. You write Medium articles titled Why I Prefer Bear Markets, and Why You Should Too, and pretend it's not because your portfolio is minus 98%. You partner with shady hardware wallet brands for affiliate commissions. You start saying, guys, if you're serious about self-custody, you need to check out Blockstrong Extreme Vault 3.0, link in bio. You've never used it. You barely understand how private keys work. But you memorize the talking points and smile like a man who definitely didn't get rugged by a protocol called Milkshake DAO. Your fans trust you, because pain is persuasive. They feel your authenticity, mostly because you constantly tell them how authentic you are. Now, if you're going to keep the grift, the guidance, alive, you need to master the fine art of selective memory. You never mention the time you liquidated your grandma's house fund to buy Jellycoin. You never bring up that brief stint working at Domino's to afford gas fees. You skip over the lawsuit where you claimed your MetaMask got hacked. Read, you accidentally clicked a phishing link because the logo looked cute. No, those are not part of the story. Your narrative is curated, crisp, and constantly optimized. Because here's the thing, being the best at losing it all doesn't mean you're a loser. No, it means you're seasoned, battle-tested, rugged in the trenches of the DeFi apocalypse. You don't hide from your L's, you leverage them. You become the Moses of market meltdowns, parting the Red Sea of regret to lead a new generation of believers toward the promised land of passive income, powered by whatever token pays the highest referral fees that week. And don't forget the merch. Oh yes. Every fallen crypto prophet needs merch. You release a minimalist hoodie that says exit liquidity in Helvetica font and it sells out in an hour. You drop shirts that say not financially stable and hats with hodl and heel embroidered in pastel. You open an Etsy shop called Rug Rich Apparel and ship them out yourself from your studio apartment with the cracked window. The irony? You make more money selling merch about losing money than you ever made in crypto. That's the game. But don't stop there. Next step. Cult vibes. You start a private mastermind group on Telegram. Entry fee, $999. Lifetime membership. No refunds. Inside, you host voice chats where you rant about energy alignment and market psychology while drinking yerba mate and pacing in front of a mirror. Everyone listens like it's a sermon. You're their messiah, their chart-scarred guru. You tell them we're building something bigger than tokens, we're building truth. They nod. They pay. They bring their friends. You invent rituals. Monday morning meditations where you scream to the moon. At sunrise. Weekly affirmations like I am the blockchain, and the blockchain is me. You release your own coin, ironically, of course. You call it $Rekt. It has no roadmap. No white paper. Just pure vibes. And it moons. Because why wouldn't it? The market loves irony. The market feeds on chaos. And you, my friend, are now the chaos conductor. But here's the real mind bender. At some point, you're not even faking it anymore. You start believing your own hype. You've told your story so many times, it becomes real. You weren't just a guy who bought high and sold low. You were a visionary who saw the future and just got caught too early. You weren't a gambler, you were a pioneer. You weren't poor, you were pre-liquid. Your losses weren't L's, they were lessons. And eventually, someone writes an article about you. Maybe Vice, maybe some crypto media startup with a name like Zillow or Dagon Digest. They title it, The Man Who Lost Millions But Found a Movement. You print it, frame it, post it in every online bio. You're not just a crypto bro anymore. You're an icon. A meme with abs. A messiah with merch. A prophet of perpetual pump and dump. And yet, the hunger never fades. Because no matter how many courses you sell, no matter how many DMs you get thanking you for changing their mindset, deep down, in the echo chamber of your soul, you still want the pump. You still want that one coin, that one lucky entry, that one ridiculous 100x that turns everything into legend. You still refresh charts at 3 AM, you still lurk in discords. You still watch YouTube Moonboy breakdowns on 1.5x speed. Because once you tasted that green candle euphoria, you never really quit. So what's the moral here? What's the real roadmap to becoming the greatest broke but bold crypto bro of all time? You embrace it. All of it. The wins, the rugs, the delusions, the depression, the dopamine hits, the drama, the Discord bans, the tax problems, the dead projects, the hallucinations about Vitalik being your spirit animal. You own it all. You turn your life into lore. You become a walking lesson. A blockchain bard. You're not here to trade, you're here to transmit wisdom. Because at the end of the day, in a world where coins can be printed in seconds and fortunes made in memes, the only thing that truly matters is the story. And you, brave degenerate, have lived a damn good one. By now, you've become something much greater than a trader. You've evolved into a brand. A whole damn ethos. A philosophical movement disguised in streetwear. Your Telegram groups are growing. Your calendar is booked out with high-vibe coaching calls. Your tweets get screenshotted and reposted on accounts that used to mock you, but now they call you a real one. You've turned digital ruin into digital religion. You're the patron saint of degens and down bad believers everywhere. Your DMs are full of messages like, bro, I just lost 40k in Kumanu, your content is helping me heal. You nod solemnly. You reply with something like, sometimes, the dip isn't in your wallet, it's in your soul. You have a quote for everything now. Loss? Pain is a bullish indicator. Regret? Every rug is just a redirection. Taxes? The IRS can't audit what no longer exists. You say it all with the confidence of a TED Talk speaker and the hygiene of someone who hasn't showered since Solana was relevant. People start flying you out to speak. Not at major conferences, those are still for the ones who actually got rich. You speak at co-living houses, WeWork basements, and online Twitter spaces with 12 listeners and 2 bots. But you speak with passion. You talk about your first bull run like a veteran talks about Nam. You describe $100,000 losses with the poetic finesse of Hemingway on mushrooms. You make despair sound sexy. And in this bear market wasteland, that's exactly what people crave. At this point, you've entered phase 4 of the ultimate crypto bro evolution, the pivot to authority figure. You may be broke, but you're revered. Like a broke guru with a gift for guiding others into the same pit you fell into, but now, you bring them a flashlight. You launch your own podcast, the Rekt Sermon. It opens with a dubstep remix of Gregorian chanting. Your first episode is titled The Oracle of Overleveraged, and you monologue about the day you sold your car to buy a JPEG of a raccoon wearing Gucci slides. Listeners cry. One guy says it saved his life. You begin referring to your old self in the third person. Back when I was a trader. You say, like a retired gunslinger sipping mezcal in a ghost town. You start name-dropping old coins like War Buddies. I was there for SafeMoon. I bled for Evergrow. I died in Luna. People listen. They take notes. They quote you like scripture. You become a main character in someone else's financial downfall story. And that, my friend, is legacy. Of course, you still need to eat. You can't survive on retweets alone. So you create a funnel. Everyone who follows you gets the same path. Follow DM link to your course upsell to crypto trauma recovery VIP inner circle invite to your in-person retreat in Tulum that's actually just a rented Airbnb with ayahuasca and a whiteboard. You call it realignment. You charge $3,000. You make a motivational reel while holding Palo Santo and whispering, it's not about what you lost. It's about what you unlock next. And just when you think you've reached the apex of your crypto clownery redemption arc, the market turns. Bull run. Green candles. Bitcoin hits new highs. Ethereum breaks through psychological resistance. Suddenly, all the influencers you used to mock are rich again, throwing money at pixels, launching meme coins named after bodily functions, and renting yachts for networking events that are 90% vodka and 10% PowerPoints. Here comes the temptation. You feel the pull. The siren song of FOMO. Your group chat lights up with "Bro, are you in on this?" You see your old nemesis, Chad the Trader 69, post a story with 6 Lambos and a caption that says "Welcome back, baby." The same guy who said Web3 was dead is now launching a DAO-powered protein shake brand. You shake your head. You tell yourself you're above it. You're spiritual now. Grounded. Enlightened. But you also download Coinbase again, just to check. You hover over buy. You whisper to yourself, "This time will be different." You rationalize it. "I'm not doing this for the money, I'm doing this for the story." That's the lie you tell. Because you are doing it for the money. You're always doing it for the money. You're a crypto bro. It's your nature. You buy back in. Just a little. A taste. You tell your followers it's for market research. But soon, you're checking charts every hour. You re-download 12 apps you swore off during your digital detox. You find yourself in a Twitter space called $Pepe to $10 at 2 a.m., arguing with a 17-year-old about tokenomics. The darkness returns. But this time, it feels like home. Because you realize, you were never meant to leave the market. You were meant to dance with it. Like a lunatic in a storm, barefoot, soaked, screaming at the lightning with open arms. You were made for chaos. You were forged in Rugpulls. You are not a traitor. You are a myth. A meme. A movement. A lifestyle brand wrapped in trauma. You lean all the way back in. You rebrand again. New name, new logo, new catchphrase. Profit is temporary. Clout is forever. You launch a new coin, $Cope. It has no utility. Just vibes and community trauma. It hits a $30 million market cap in 3 days. You post, "We're so back." And everyone believes you. Even you believe you. Because this, dear reader, is the final form. The true enlightenment. To be the best crypto bro who lost it all but still gives advice, you must never actually retire. You must become a perpetual phoenix. A walking cautionary tale who keeps getting caught in the same traps, yet finds new ways to monetize the carnage. You are a paradox. A profitable disaster. A self-aware Ponzi with a heart of gold. You are not here to win. You are here to exist loudly, passionately, shamelessly. And in the world of Web3, that's worth more than any coin. At this point, you are more than just a personality, you are an archetype. A living, breathing NFT in human form. People don't just follow you, they worship you. Your downfall is folklore. Your rise is studied. You're the cautionary tale that refuses to shut up, and somehow, that makes you more trustworthy than the polished success stories. Because who can relate to a guy who bought Bitcoin at $12? No one. But you? You bought dog coins at the top, got rugged by a DAO run by a TikTok dancer, lost your life savings in a yield farm that literally had the word slaughter in its name, and yet here you are, thriving. That's real. That's human. That's viral. You've now entered Phase V, the monetized messiah. Your pain is no longer private. It's productized. You speak in memes. You write threads like 10 lessons I learned after getting liquidated and abandoned in Dubai. Each one ends with a link to your coaching program. You release a limited edition ebook, From Lambos to Lattes, Rebuilding After Crypto Collapse. It's 47 pages of half-baked stoicism quotes, screenshots of your biggest losses, and affirmations like I am not my portfolio. I am the pump. Your audience isn't just traders anymore. You've expanded. You're now pulling in burned out tech brothers, confused moms trying to understand Web3, broke college kids looking for passive income, and a surprising number of dudes in pyramid schemes who think you might have the secret sauce. You don't. But you act like you do. And that's all that matters. Confidence is currency, baby. Especially in a market where value is completely made up and the vibes are the only metric that matters. You start doing webinars. Titles like How to Lose It All and Still Sell a Course About It. You make them free, at first, because it's about building trust. But eventually, they feed into the real money machine, high-ticket coaching. You're charging $5,000 for 6 Zoom calls where you mostly tell people not to check charts after midnight and to journal about their trauma. You get testimonials like, bro, after working with you I lost all my anxiety, and most of my savings, but that's not your fault. Of course, the IRS starts asking questions. Because while your trading days are technically behind you, your Crypto Healing Services LLC has been pulling in more than your old day job ever did. You haven't paid taxes in 3 years and your accountant only communicates via burner phone. You start looking into offshore entities. You post a story from Puerto Rico and write tax optimization season, palm tree emoji. You have no idea what you're doing. But the algorithm doesn't care. You're thriving. You're content. And then, the universe, with its cruel sense of humor, hands you a miracle. One of your old meme coins randomly moons. A leftover from your Dagon phase. Something absurd, like $Fartnu or $Zelensky in U3. You wake up one day, and boom, your wallet is up $120,000. You scream. You cry. You thank Satoshi. You tweet the universe always rewards those WHO stay true. You go viral. Again. Overnight, you're trending. People repost your content. Podcasts hit you up. Followers spike. You're back in the limelight, and this time, the portfolio actually backs up the swagger. But here's the sick part, you're uncomfortable. You're too up. You miss the struggle. You miss the soul searching. You miss being able to tweet about loss and failure without people calling you a liar. Success, weirdly enough, has become your enemy. You've built your whole brand on being the underdog, the phoenix, the guy who turns ashes into alpha, and now, with green in your account, what are you? A winner? Gross. So you start self-sabotaging. You ape into a new coin without doing any research. You partner with a DeFi project that looks like it was built in a middle school coding class. You start tweeting about trusting your gut as an excuse to ignore all fundamentals. Slowly, strategically, you let it all burn again. And when your followers ask, bro, what happened? You smile, look into the camera, and whisper, it's all part of the brand. And they believe you. Because you've become untouchable. You've lost so much that loss no longer scares you. You're numb to red candles. Immune to volatility. The pain that destroys others only sharpens your memes. You are no longer human. You are post-crashed. You are bear market proof. You are a man with nothing to lose and everything to monetize. You now speak in parables. People say you're like if Eckhart Tolle started a pump and dump group. You say things like the chain is within you and liquidity is a state of mind. You run retreats in Thailand. You sell books that are 90% blank pages labeled space to reflect. You drop NFTs of your worst performing trades. One of them sells for $18,000. You use that money to buy an emotional support monkey named Satoshi, who wears Supreme and appears in all your Instagram lives. The media finally catches on. Bloomberg runs a headline, "The man who made a fortune teaching people how to lose theirs." You frame it. You wear it like armor. They don't get it, but your tribe does. They're loyal. They're growing. They repost every story. They say things like he's the only honest one left. And maybe you are. Maybe you're the last honest grifter in a sea of polished frauds. Because at least you're authentic. At least you admit you're winging it. At least you say not financial advice before every unhinged take. You've never claimed to be perfect. You just claimed to be resilient. And that, in the end, is what people want. Not wins. Not wealth. But someone who survived the storm and still came out funny. That's what makes you the best. Now that you're a full-blown spiritual finance influencer with a fanbase that treats your losses like biblical trials, it's time to elevate your content. Not just in volume, but in mythology. You're no longer just tweeting from a laptop, you're constructing a canon. Your YouTube thumbnails look like Michael Bay trailers: fire, tears, bold red text screaming "I lost it all, and I'd do it again." You do dramatic walk and talks down abandoned streets in foreign cities, looking like Jason Bourne with commitment issues and a ring light. You start narrating your downfall with orchestral music playing behind you. I was up 400K. I was going to buy a villa. But then, dollar poop dropped 99.98% in 6 minutes. Fade to black. Your audience eats it up like ramen in a bear market. You're not just sharing, you're teaching. Every anecdote becomes a TEDx talk. Every mistake becomes a micro course. You record 73 videos titled "Top 3 Coins I'll Never Touch Again" and contradict yourself in 62 of them. Doesn't matter. The algorithm doesn't reward accuracy. It rewards authentic drama. And then it happens, the pivot to crypto clergy. You start wearing all white. You drop the hoodies and joggers and opt for flowing linen pants and bead necklaces that scream "I found Web3 in a cave." You open your videos with a long, meditative GM. You call yourself a token mystic. You start referring to Ethereum as a living entity. You say things like "Solana rejected me because I hadn't yet accepted myself." You're unhinged. You're unstoppable. You're profitable. You launch a private temple, a paid online community called the Tao of Healing. You say it's not about money, but of course it costs $888 to join. Inside, people share stories of the coins that ruined their marriages, the NFTs that cost them custody battles, and the leverage trades that pushed them to try breathwork therapy. You listen. You guide. You send them voice notes that begin with "Brother, your wallet may be empty, but your heart is full." They cry. They tip you in ETH. Meanwhile, you keep releasing projects. None of them are investments. you make that very clear. They're spiritual artifacts. You mint an NFT of your old Ledger wallet's phrase as a symbol of impermanence. You launch dollar loss, a meme token that's just a ledger of how many trades you fumbled. The price is tied to the number of red days on the market. Ironically, it pumps. You call it a performance art piece about capitalism. You are interviewed by a German art magazine and quoted saying, "I trade not for wealth, but for wholeness." But the real apex comes when you get invited to a crypto monastery. Yes, that's a real thing now. A group of former hedge fund managers turned off-grid monks who run a Bitcoin validator from a solar-powered cave in the Alps. You go. You document it all. You post reels of you meditating on top of a glacier wearing an orange robe, chanting HODL into the wind. You write a long, nonsensical Medium article called Cold Wallet, Warm Soul. It gets featured on Hacker News. Now, let's not pretend this all came easy. You've made sacrifices. You haven't had stable housing in 18 months. Your friends think you joined a cult, technically true. Your mom still thinks Bitcoin is a video game. Your love life is a tragic loop of "I swear I'm not in it for the money and please don't look at my portfolio." You've ghosted multiple therapists. But this is the path. This is the crypto monk's journey. Because remember, the best crypto bro who lost it all and still gives advice isn't here to win. He's here to wander. To whisper wisdom through the wreckage. To walk barefoot through the digital desert while the noobs chase the next pump. And when they inevitably get wrecked, when they fall, when they cry into their Robinhood app at 3 a.m., guess who they'll find on YouTube at the exact moment? You. Smiling. Wearing beads. Saying, "You've just begun." And they'll subscribe. Now let's talk legacy. You can't be the best if you don't leave something behind. A digital monument. An eternal footprint on the blockchain of history. So you begin building the Rekt archives, a decentralized, token-gated vault of every loss you've ever endured. You upload every bad trade, every deleted tweet, every top 5 altcoins to buy now that ended in disaster. It's open source, permissionless, immutable humiliation. And it makes you a hero. Because nobody else does this. Everyone else in crypto is trying to erase their L's, Photoshop their wallets, act like they saw it coming. But you frame your L's. You mint them. You sell them as NFTs. You lean into the suck and emerge as a god of transparency. You are proof that you can be broke and still build a movement. That you can lose it all, again and again, and still show up like it's all going according to plan. Your life now consists of giving keynote speeches at meetups and rooftop cafes, live streaming crypto sermons from mountaintops, and voice noting your followers' affirmations like regret is just unclaimed wisdom. You're poor, yes. But you are rich in resonance, in relevance, in memes per minute. You get invited to be a keynote speaker at the next Solana conference and you open with, "Let me tell you about the time I got hacked by a 12-year-old Discord mod." Standing ovation. And just when the world thinks you've peaked, you drop a final bombshell. You announce that you're leaving crypto. That's right. You post a long, tearful video, filmed in black and white, of course, where you walk barefoot through a wheat field, whispering that this chapter is closed. You say things like, "The blockchain taught me to decentralize my ego." You cry. You say goodbye. The video goes viral. Twitter explodes. Reddit melts down. You get tributes, fan art, even someone offering to name their kid after your first shitcoin. And then, 6 weeks later, you're back. Caption: couldn't stay away. New project coming soon. And they welcome you back like a war hero. Because the best crypto bro who lost it all, but still gives advice, never really leaves. He just rebrands. Your return is headline news, in the crypto space, at least. Dagon Sage re-enters the market with new wisdom. Old Bags reads the Cointelegraph article. Everyone's eyes are on you again. Twitter/X spaces fill up when you join. You don't even speak at first, you just sit there silently for 7 minutes, breathing heavily into the mic, before finally saying, "The bear was the blessing." Applause emoji flood the chat. Someone tips you $69 in Doge. You nod like a prophet. You announce your comeback project, Phoenix Bro, a meme coin powered by community pain and unrealized potential. The roadmap is a Google Doc written in Comic Sans. Utilities include emotional support via voice notes, access to archived footage of your worst trades, and airdrops of coping tokens you can redeem for one-word affirmations like soar and believe. You make it clear, this isn't an investment. This is a movement. And naturally, it hits a $50 million market cap in 4 days. The community goes nuts. They start calling themselves flameholders. They create memes of you with angel wings, rising from a pile of Rekt trading accounts. Someone tattoos your QR code on their forearm. A cult forms. You tell them you're not their leader, that the true Tao is within, but deep down, you love it. You were born for this. You're no longer trading. You're channeling. And because you're now seen as a multidimensional thought leader who once survived a 97% drawdown on camera, brands start knocking. But not just crypto brands, lifestyle brands. A sandal company offers you an ambassador deal. A startup selling Web3 mindfulness retreats wants your face on the banner. You shoot a commercial for a cold wallet that's waterproof, fireproof, and emotionally supportive. You say into the camera, "It's not just where I store my crypto. It's where I store my hope." It airs during a DAO governance live stream and people cry. But don't get too cozy, king, because drama is coming. Some hater on YouTube drops a crypto bro expose about you. It's a 48-minute takedown called "This Man Lost Millions and Now He's Selling Meditation," and it's filled with screenshots of your old tweets, early course reviews, and one damning voice note where you clearly say, "Bro, I don't even know what staking is." It gets 2 million views. You're trending again, but this time for all the wrong reasons. And that's when you make the boldest move of your career. You own it. You go live for 5 hours straight. Shirtless. Sweaty. Drinking yerba mate and pacing like a TEDx hostage. You address every accusation, but instead of denying, you refrain. You say things like, "Yes, I misled people. But only because I was misleading myself." And isn't that the most relatable journey of all? The chat goes wild. You quote Rumi. You cry. You reveal that you lost your last remaining Bitcoin to a phishing link disguised as a crypto dating app called Hot and Close. It's raw. It's real. It's peak content. And just like that, you flip the narrative. The hate becomes fuel. The scandal becomes marketing. You release a new course called the Fall Guy Framework, a 6-module system on how to survive cancellation and come out more monetized. The first module is just you saying integrity is a brand on loop for 19 minutes. People buy it. You don't even blink. Because this is the truth, you've ascended beyond markets, coins, and candlesticks. You are now a culture hero. You are the Charlie Chaplin of financial collapse, the Banksy of broken dreams, the Tupac of tokenomics. Your entire persona is one big, lucrative paradox, broke yet booked, mocked yet monetized, lost it all, yet somehow still in the game. And that's when the final evolution begins. You write a book. Not a guide. Not a memoir. A manifesto. Titled, WAGMI, We All Got Monetized. Internally, it's part self-help, part satire, part accidental genius. It becomes a cult classic. People quote it during meditations. Couples read it before sleep. Someone turns Chapter 7 into a spoken word performance at Denver and gets a standing ovation. You didn't even know there was a Chapter 7. You just blacked out and typed until the PDF exported. A film studio reaches out. They want to make your life into a documentary. You insist on directing it. Filming starts in Tulum, where you wear robes and talk to iguanas like they're VCs. There's a scene of you burning your old Ledger wallet in a ceremony with ex-hedge fund managers chanting "Burn the past, mint the self." The trailer drops and crypto Twitter explodes. You release the soundtrack as an NFT and rake in another 6 figures. Meanwhile, the market tanks again. Bitcoin drops 45% overnight. Everyone panics. But you? You go live and say, "This is the gift." You drop a limited edition voice note NFT titled "The Dip is Within" and it sells out in 3 minutes. You start tweeting again. Short, cryptic stuff. Liquidity is breath. Buy the blood, not the hype. Your exit liquidity might be someone's awakening. People print these on shirts. You retweet every single one. You no longer trade. You no longer research. You've transcended numbers. You exist purely in metaphor and engagement metrics. You are a meme monk. A digital cult leader with a funnel. A walking crash course in how to turn every L into legend. And when people ask, "How did you do it?" you smile, look at the camera, and say, "I didn't get lucky. I got liquidated with style." Now that you're living in a paradox loop where every humiliation increases your audience, you realize something vital: you've become unfireable by the universe. The laws of karma, consequence, and common sense no longer apply to you. The more ridiculous your downfall, the bigger the bounce. You dropped 200k in a liquidity pool called Boner Swap. Boom, 20k new followers. You get scammed by a chatbot posing as Vitalik's ghost. You turn it into a reel that does 1.8 million views and lands you a speaking slot at NFT NYC. At this point, you could film yourself slipping on a MetaMask USB and someone would write a Medium post calling it symbolic. Because you've cracked it, the golden formula, confidence plus collapse equals clout. You don't trade tokens. You trade trauma. And trauma, it turns out, is a renewable resource. Every week, a new wave of retail investors joins the market, eyes wide, fingers itchy, wallets full of stimulus checks or misplaced hope. And every week, most of them get wrecked. You're their lighthouse. Their shepherd. Their dopamine-depleted crypto dad. You offer them community, memes, and just enough wisdom to keep them around, but not enough to actually help them avoid the exact same mistakes you made. And that's intentional. Because deep down, you need them to fall. If everyone became a responsible investor, your empire of satirical suffering would collapse. But don't worry, most people won't change. Not really. And you? You'll be waiting with a Telegram link, a merch code, and a voice note that says, "Bro. Same." You begin expanding the empire. You now have a web series called The Down Bad Diaries, where you interview other Rekt traders and give them affirmation candles named after failed tokens. A crypto-themed ASMR channel, whispering phrases like gas fees are temporary and you're not your portfolio. A motivational mixtape on SoundCloud called Rekt and Reflect, 12 tracks of you rapping about leverage and enlightenment over lo-fi beats made by a DAO musician in Lisbon. A yoga program called Stretch Goals, where every pose is named after trading pain, the liquidation lunge, the bear market bridge, the candle wick cobra. At this point, you're no longer reacting to the market is reacting to you. When you tweet "I feel bullish," meme coins spike. When you post "Today feels like a rug day," panic spreads. Projects beg you to not mention them in your threads. You have power now. Not the kind that moves billions, the kind that shifts vibes. And in crypto, that's more valuable anyway. You launch your own stablecoin. Not backed by USD or gold, it's pegged to your mood. You call it $Vibe. If you tweet "I'm good," the algorithm mints more. If you say "feeling off," supply shrinks. It's technically illegal. It's spiritually flawless. A DAO forms around it. They build a shrine to your biggest trading loss, the infamous $69,000 long on coin that got liquidated in 14 seconds. They call it the Temple of Emotional Exit Liquidity. People pray there. You go once, barefoot, and film yourself meditating in front of a framed screenshot of the liquidation notice. You call it honoring the red candles. Even mainstream media begins to notice. Not Bloomberg this time, we're talking Rolling Stone, Vice, GQ. Esquire runs a feature titled, "The Sex Appeal of Financial Failure, Why Every Girl Wants a Crypto Monk with a Past." Overnight, your dating life rebounds. Not because you're rich, you're not, but because your vibe is rare, spiritually broke but emotionally fluent. Women are intrigued. Men are confused. You become the most ironically desirable man on Web3 Tinder. Your bio simply says, "I once lost it all, now I help others lose with grace." And yet, there's still one more peak. One final form. You decide it's time to write your gospel. Not just a book. A code. You call it the Rekt Scrolls. It's a series of 21 mystical principles for surviving any market, wrapped in metaphors, dad jokes, and hauntingly accurate insights. You self-publish it as a hardcover with recycled white paper pages. It smells like fear and ambition. Each chapter is a different lesson. He who buys tops must learn to bottom within. The chart is not the enemy, attachment is. Trust no one, especially yourself during a bull run. Love like it's a 10x. Exit like it's a slow rug. You inscribe each one personally for the first 100 buyers. They sell out in 11 minutes. You read passages aloud in Twitter Spaces at 3 a.m. like a priest in a digital wasteland. People cry. A DAO forms to translate it into Latin. Someone tattoos the phrase "the candle does not burn forever" across their chest. You're offered honorary citizenship by an island nation planning to build a crypto city on volcanic ash. You decline. Not because you're humble, because it's a scam, and you respect the hustle. And just when you think the journey has peaked, it dips again. The market always dips. A black swan event. Another hack. Another scandal. Sentiment dies. The bull is slain. The sheep are sheared. The cycle resets. But this time, you don't flinch. Because you know. You've always known. The game is not about wealth. It's about story. And yours. Yours is priceless. ChatGPT said, "Let's get it, here's the next 2,000 words of how to be the best crypto bro who lost it all, but still gives advice." We're diving deeper into crypto's twilight zone of clout, cultism, and financial chaos wrapped in spiritual cosplay. The markets are bleeding again, but you're blooming. While others cry into their hardware wallets, you host candlelit AMAs called the Blessing of the Bear. You don't even mention price anymore, that's for peasants. You're above charts now. You speak in archetypes, in cosmic signals, in memes about your ex and gas fees. You say things like, downtrends are just the universe's way of recalibrating your worthiness. And they believe you. Because you sound like someone who knows things. And more importantly, you look like someone who's been through hell and came back horny for redemption. Your content shifts again. You launch a 30-day digital detox program called Unplug and Pump, where participants delete all trading apps and replace them with guided journaling, cold plunges, and daily voice notes from you that say things like, if your value fluctuates with Bitcoin, you were never holding yourself to begin with. You charge $997. You sell 300 spots. Half the participants relapse on day 2. You praise them for embracing vulnerability. You mint their confessions as soulbound NFTs. Web3 therapy. Your haters are louder now. They accuse you of exploiting failure. They say you are a walking contradiction, that you've built a 6-figure business around losing money and calling it enlightenment. You don't deny it. You lean in. You change your bio to grifter? Or gift giver? You release a limited edition merch line called Scam with Integrity, minimalist tees with phrases like at least I'm honest and dire before you DM me. They sell out in hours. One night, at 4 a.m., you go live in a silk robe holding a candle. You talk about impermanence, liquidity, and emotional resilience. You recite your seed phrase like it's a mantra. You light a screenshot of your Binance liquidation email on fire and let the ashes fall into a crystal chalice labeled WAGMI tears. You get 18,000 live viewers. It becomes your most shared clip. People start calling you the Satoshi Whisperer. You don't correct them. You're invited to Davos. Not for economics, for digital philosophy. You arrive wearing a white poncho and LED sunglasses that display your current ETH balance, still negative. You give a speech titled Blockchains and the Human Shadow. You quote Carl Jung. You drop the mic. You exit to a standing ovation and get booked for a Netflix docuseries titled Rugged, The Man Who Turned Losing into Legacy. Now the real power begins. You build the Temple of Rekt, a metaverse sanctuary where visitors can light virtual candles for their dead bags, meditate inside a 3D rendering of your first Rugpull chart, get spiritual readings based on their wallet history, enter the Hall of Regret, where your worst trades echo eternally. It's stupid. It's brilliant. It gets VC funding. You release a virtual avatar of yourself, Rugged Steve v2.0, AI generated, emotionally aware, and capable of responding to DMs in your tone with affirmations like the dip is just resistance training. People don't even know if they're talking to you anymore. It doesn't matter. The brand is stronger than the man. At this point, you've created a full-blown spiritual multiverse. You're a keynote speaker, meme oracle, liquidity shaman, performance artist, and emotional scam prepper. People buy tickets to see you not trade. You speak at art galleries and law schools. You give TEDx talks titled The Art of Failing Publicly, and Monetizing the Fallout. And somehow, through all this madness, you never touch real money. You still live in the same 300 square foot apartment with a cracked iPhone, a yoga mat, and a desk made from an old hardware wallet box. Why? Because you must remain broke. It's part of the myth. If you succeed too much, the magic breaks. The brand collapses. You're not rich. You're relevant. And relevance, in this space, pays more than holding ever did. One day, someone new joins the space. A fresh-faced kid with laser eyes and dreams of turning $500 into generational wealth. He posts a selfie with a chart, hashtags it #WAGMI, and tweets, "No way I lose." Within 48 hours, he's down bad. He's confused, angry, devastated. And in his moment of despair, guess who he finds? You. In a reel. Shirtless. Staring into the camera with raw honesty and saying, "Bro. I've been there. I live there. Let me show you how to turn your L into legend." And he follows. Because the cycle never ends. And neither do you. You're now a myth wrapped in an algorithm. The person, the pain, the brand, it's all merged. You're not just a crypto bro. You're a frequency. A digital archetype that radiates on a different spectrum of reality, somewhere between satire and spiritual psychosis. Every word you say becomes a sticker in a Discord. Every outfit you wear becomes a derivative NFT. You tweet the pain as part of the profit and it ends up engraved on a hardware wallet sold by some startup you've never heard of. They never asked for permission. You never sue. That would break the character. And the character must stay broke. This is now your profession, emotional risk management for the overleveraged. You've created entire systems, frameworks, and metaphors so elaborate that no one questions whether you're actually making sense anymore. You drop a voice memo in your group chat saying, "A true exit strategy isn't financial, it's energetic." 20 guys quit their jobs that afternoon. You launch a digital cleanse course called Chart Detox, which includes 3 days of silence, no Discord, no trading view, no CoinGecko, daily affirmations like gas fees are temporary, I am eternal, a journaling prompt titled "What Did Luna Teach Me About Self-Abandonment?" You charge $444. It's completely automated. You fall asleep and wake up $17,000 richer. You tweet, "Abundance arrives when you stop chasing pumps and start chasing peace." It gets picked up by a mindfulness app. You're now an advisor on financial embodiment. Nobody knows what that means, but they add it to their bios anyway. And then the DMs start rolling in from celebrities. One rapper wants to drop a song called "Hard Wallet Heartbreak." A wellness influencer wants to collab on a crypto grief retreat. A former NBA player asks if you can do a Twitter space explaining how he accidentally bought an NFT of a naked mole rat for $60,000. You say yes to everything. Because this is the real bag. Not coins. not charts. Culture. You're invited to host a panel at Coachella titled From Paper Hands to Inner Peace. You wear a see-through hoodie and open with a live sound bath using a USB mic and a Solana coaster. In the crowd are YouTubers, hedge fund interns, Web3 cultists, and that one guy who sold his house for Pepe coin. They all listen, taking notes on iPads they definitely can't afford. You tell them, let the market crash into you, that's where the healing begins. They cheer. A woman faints. You walk off stage and vomit from heat exhaustion, but it doesn't matter. The legend expands. You now live off community donations. Not Patreon, no. That's too structured. You accept only random wallet tips from people who feel called. You get $3,200 one week from a guy who said he saw your face in a liquidity candle. You accept. You light incense. You tweet may we all get rugged with intention. You don't even check the coin anymore. Just vibes. You build a shrine in your apartment, a sacred corner where you've printed out every one of your worst trades and hung them like spiritual medals. A candle burns for each rug pull. You start calling your brokerage account the Oracle of Ego. You let your followers send in their own Rekt stories and hang them next to yours. The walls become crowded. It becomes a pilgrimage site. People visit, cry, leave behind cold wallets and sticky notes that say things like I leveraged my soul, but now I hold my truth. It's so dumb. So genius. So Web3. Eventually, someone from the old world, a CNBC journalist, tries to do a gotcha interview with you. They fly to meet you in your minimalist crypto monk dojo, a tiny loft above a vape shop, expecting to expose you. But what happens? You sit them down, brew tea, talk slowly. And within 15 minutes, they're nodding along, whispering, maybe money is a trauma response. You win again. You always win now, because you've disconnected winning from the one thing everyone else still thinks it means, money. They're chasing green candles. You're chasing memes and metaphors. And that makes you unbeatable. Your community grows into a movement. They start identifying as post-profit traders. They speak only in affirmations. They wear robes. They don't check prices. They follow your content religiously. You drop a new framework every week. The Fibonacci of feelings, the wallet of worth, the gas fee of gratitude, none of it means anything. All of it means everything. Someone launches a coin in your honor. $Sage Bro. The tokenomics are based on emotional volatility indexes pulled from Twitter replies. You post a disclaimer that says I'm not involved in this project in any way, shape, or legality. But when it moons, you tweet divine timing. When it crashes, you tweet detachment practice. You're never wrong. You're beyond reproach. You are bulletproof through absurdity. Then, it happens. You're asked to speak at a government hearing on crypto regulation. No one knows why. You show up in flip-flops and a silk kimono that says not your keys, not your karma. You sit before a row of confused senators. One asks if you believe in stable coins. You say, only when I'm emotionally regulated. Another asks if crypto should be taxed. You say, only if spiritual growth can be deducted. It makes no sense. But everyone's too scared to admit it. The live stream clips go viral. Twitter anoints you the shaman of Senate. Back home, you light a candle for the market. You say a little prayer. Not for price action, but for memes. For movement. For all the future degens who'll stumble into this wild, beautiful casino we call crypto. And eventually lose everything. Because when they do, they'll find you. You'll still be here. Shirtless. Smiling. And ready to sell them hope. ChatGPT said. We're in the final stretch. Here's the next 2,000 words of how to be the best crypto bro who lost it all, but still gives advice. The myth deepens, the satire sharpens, and the absurdity becomes prophecy. You've transcended trading. You've transcended crypto. You've transcended you. At this point, your name is whispered in hushed tones across Telegram groups and ayahuasca circles alike. People don't even know if you're real anymore. Are you a guy who lost it all and leaned into the meme? Are you a paid actor for some massive meta-narrative on financial trauma? Are you a decentralized tulpa brought to life through collective coping mechanisms in the algorithm? No one can say for sure. And you? You never clarify. You drop content less frequently now. When you do, it's cryptic. A photo of a sunrise with the caption, "The pump begins at dawn." A single word tweet, "Humble." A story of your empty wallet titled "Stillness Insolvency." And every time you go quiet for too long, speculation floods the space. Did he really go broke again? Did he ascend into pure code? Is he launching something? The answer is always yes, to all of it. Because now your greatest product is anticipation. When you do reappear, it's an event. You do a 12-hour live stream called The Final Exit. You don't speak. You just stare into the camera. You blink. You nod. You hold a single red candle. The viewership peaks at 88,000. Crypto influencers comment powerful. Someone says, "I felt him transfer my FOMO into acceptance." A DAO is formed just to archive your expressions. You log off and go outside. The sun hits your face. You whisper to no one in particular, "They're almost ready." And by they, you mean the next wave. Because there's always another wave. The next bull run ignites, fast, chaotic, stupid. The new class of degens rises, armed with fresh memes and disposable income. They make the same mistakes. They buy into hype. They YOLO into coins with names like $JewelCoin and $Mommy. They chase charts like horny pilgrims chasing salvation through volatility. And when it all collapses, and it will, guess who they find? They find your old content. Archived. Immortal. Timeless. The voice note that says, "Don't chase candles, become the fire." The thread that reads, "Every rug pull is just the universe freeing you from false attachment." The video of you sobbing into your Ledger wallet while whispering, "I loved too hard." They devour it. They share it. They understand. You are now the spiritual onboarding for financial delusion. And so the cycle continues. You write your final piece, a digital scripture titled Sats in Surrender. You don't even promote it. You just upload it to IPFS and disappear. It becomes the most downloaded file on Arweave. Developers translate it into Solidity. One DAO turns it into a scroll you can mint on chain, each word locked in with gas fees paid in tears. It becomes a status symbol. People refer to it in real life. You see a man at the airport reading a printed copy. You nod. He nods back. You don't speak. You don't need to. One day, you vanish completely. No posts. No spaces. No rugs. No launches. Just silence. People speculate for months. Did you finally sell the top and escape? Did you go broke again and rebrand as a yoga teacher in Costa Rica? Did you upload your consciousness into the blockchain and become a liquidity ghost? No one knows. But then, months later, a voice note appears in a new wallet. It's short. Just your voice, softly saying, "I'm still down. But I'm still here." And with that, you confirm what everyone already knew. You are not a man. You are not a traitor. You are not even a meme anymore. You are a frequency. A symbol of survival. A reminder that the best crypto bro who lost it all, but still gives advice, never really loses. Because the game was never about wealth. It was about witnessing yourself unravel. And monetizing the unraveling. So what's the final step? It's simple. Repeat. Lose again. Rebrand again. Rise again. Preach again. And every time someone asks, "How do I survive the next crash?" you smile that stupid, knowing smile and say, "Easy, bro. Get wrecked. But get loud about it." There comes a point when the line between the character and the creator blurs so completely, you forget which came first, the bag or the brand. That's where you are now. You no longer say "I lost it all." You say "the universe recalibrated me." You no longer say "I was scammed." You say "I was selected for spiritual redirection." You've gone full crypto Buddha. Your presence is so calm, so detached, so post-clownery that people assume you're either enlightened or fully insane. Maybe both. You're invited to teach workshops at art schools, not about crypto, but about narrative resilience. They study you like performance art. They call you the Warhol of wallet wounds. Your tweets are exhibited in a Berlin gallery under the title, "Speculation as Self-Portrait." A single tweet, "I deserve airdrops even when I'm emotionally unavailable," sells as a physical print for $14,000. You send half the money to a DAO called Therapy for Traders. The other half? You lose on chain within the hour. You tweet, "Balance restored." By now, you've accepted that your role is not to escape the game, it's to loop it. You are the Sisyphus of Solana. The Prometheus of pump and dumps. You bring fire to the exit liquidity masses, get your liver devoured, then show up again next cycle like nothing happened. Because every time you fall, your audience grows. Every time you tank, your influence spikes. You've gamified failure so beautifully that success would ruin the brand. And they get it. Your audience? They're no longer just followers. They're initiates. Rekt mystics. Digital monks draped in meme coin regret and hoodie wisdom. They don't seek financial advice from you anymore, they seek emotional insulation. They come to your Discord crying, "I just lost 40% on a long I opened during a breakup," and you reply with a JPEG of a candle wick and the words "Let it burn through you." It's flawless. So you expand. Slowly. Organically. You launch the School of Rekt, a virtual academy for those who've been humbled by the market. No indicators. No predictions. Just hard-earned spiritual mechanics of surviving ego death through leverage. You teach things like emotional stop-loss, knowing when to log off spiritual layer 2s, how to scale your self-awareness, the Tao of letting go. Your guest speakers include washed-up influencers, bankrupt yield farmers, and one guy who lives in a van after trying to flip pixel penguins full-time. They share wisdom no MBA program ever could. Enrollment opens and closes within hours. You never show your face in class, just a glowing avatar of yourself holding a candle and whispering, "This candle is you." Now, the mainstream comes calling again. A documentary drops, WAGMI, the man who profited from pain. It's part comedy, part tragedy, part half-truth. Critics call it the Gen Z Wolf of Wall Street, but if the wolf cried during rug pulls, you cry during the premiere. Not from the film, from the sheer absurdity that this is what your life has become. A joke that mutated into a movement. An identity crisis turned cult. A meme turned legacy. And that's when you realize something, you don't even want to make it back anymore. You don't want to be rich. That would ruin everything. What's the content in stability? What's the engagement in healthy boundaries? What's the narrative arc in a steady income? No. You want to keep losing, publicly, with power. You want to teach others how to turn the free fall into a business model. You want to die broke but go viral doing it. So you do what only the greatest could. You orchestrate your final rug. The most elaborate self-inflicted loss in crypto history. You create a project called $Rug, a meme coin that promises no utility, no roadmap, no hope. Just vibes and a countdown timer labeled "Let Go." You tell everyone it's not an investment, it's a meditation. You gather 100,000 wallets. You post daily reflections like, "One day, this will all be dust, and you'll thank me for the experience." People send money anyway. You rug it intentionally on the last day of Q1. All of it. Gone. But instead of fleeing, you livestream yourself crying, not because of the loss, but because of the beauty. You say, "Look what we did. We believed. We let go. We learned." You then send refunds, not in ETH, but in voice notes. Personalized. Soulful. You say, "I can't return your money, but I can return your meaning." People eat it up. Some say it's performance art. Some say it's a con. But the real ones? They know. You never scammed them. You gave them something better than money, content. And content, my friend, never crashes. It multiplies. It spreads. It survives. And so now, finally, we arrive at the end of this sacred scroll. The final revelation. The ultimate alpha that no chart will ever show you. To be the best crypto bro who lost it all, and still gives advice, you must do 3 things. Lose publicly. Let them see you unravel. That's your origin story. Reframe everything. It wasn't a mistake, it was a lesson. It wasn't a scam, it was a syllabus. Never, ever shut up. Turn your loss into lore. Speak until your voice becomes gospel. Meme until your meltdown becomes a movement. Because in the end, the blockchain won't remember your gains. But it will remember your story. So walk tall. Post your P&L. Cry on camera. Hold space for other down bad souls. And when they ask, "Bro, how are you still here?" you smile. You look straight into their soul. And you say, "Because I never stopped giving advice. Even when I had absolutely no business doing so."